rollers, and welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios, a library, the show that we watch movies of Disney cartoons. Yay!
Yay!
As always, since I somehow managed to kind of get through that opening, we're just going to keep going. So, as always, I'm Jeff.
I didn't distract you this time. I didn't jump
you
in.
Didn't. And
although
you, know
you are
why?
still mid-introduction, and we have now derailed before you could even say who any of us are.
Who any of us are. Oh, man alive. There's so many of us here, too. That's the thing. I only talk about the two main ones, but if you talked about all the 30 or 40 audience members on each side that's listening to us talk.
Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios is filmed before a live studio audience.
One day, TC.
One day.
It will be. But anyways, so I'm Jeff, as always, and joining me is the fantastic and fun and entertaining and awesome and great and amazing.
Who is this guy, and what is he doing here?
And why are you talking about me?
I am TC, and I don't know if I live up to half of what Jeff just said. My goodness.
I forgot the word modest, too. So
we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. After our 2 weeks off of busyness, filming, and awardsing, and we are back.
So many awards happened over the last 2 weeks as well. Just all over the place. So many short films and awards and great fun things. And yeah, unfortunately, like I said, we only intended it on being 1 week. We were going to try to not even skip a week, but it just didn't work. And then, well, unfortunately, we had to miss 2 because life just stayed busy.
Yeah. I hope that means we come back strong. Like we've got some energy brewing up from 2 weeks off, and we're ready to just be really eloquent in the things that we, what is the word I'm looking for? Say.
Say, yes. I was just going to say, TC, you've obviously not listened to this show, because even if we had a break, I would not be elegant. Elegant? Elegant.
Jeff, life finds a way.
Ladies and gentlemen, number 3 of the people who are watching us right now, Jeff Goldblum's in the audience, and he likes to just chime in from time to time.
Oh, wow, look at that. You guys are doing a podcast. That's amazing. Wow.
If y'all going to do it, I want to do it too. We can all take turns. What? Sorry.
This in some capacity lends to the movie we're discussing today because, and I'll let you introduce in the moment after I make this thought, this is the first movie that utilizes star power. Now, granted, It is not stars that nearly anyone's going to recognize these days unless you're a geek for that sort of thing. But the movie we're watching today was actually advertised and used stars in it. So.
Which is crazy because like nowadays I feel like Disney, and I will introduce in a second, nowadays I feel like Disney just like it lives for its star power to be attached to films, it helps.
That is certainly something that Pixar doesn't do. I don't feel like Pixar really like banks on their voice actors, but that's something that surely DreamWorks does, and Disney does as well, like with having The Rock most recently. But what are we watching, Jeff? What are we babbling about here? The people who have somehow listened to this podcast without reading the title of what they clicked on.
It's like, I'm going to blindly start listening to an episode today. What is it going to be? Well, the movie we watched this week was Make Mine Music from 1946. The first of these movies for me personally that I had never seen.
Never seen it before. This is a new experience for you. So this is a fun musical fantasy in 10 parts.
Yes. When that came up, I went, in 10 parts, this movie's only an hour and 10 minutes long. How short are these? Like, I didn't realize it was like, I knew, okay, so as we've been discussing for the previous episodes, a lot of these are all part of the whole like package movies that Disney's been making because of the war. This is the first one that they released. This is the first one that came out after the war had ended? Is that what I read?
What's the year of the release on this again?
1946.
Yeah, so war's over.
War's over. However, because it was still like one of those that was in production, it was obviously in production during the war. But I lost my train of thought where I was going with that. And
you'd never seen this before. It's a package film. It's actually 10 shorts combined into one film. But it
was crazy to think like how like just they were very short. Like it wasn't like Three Caballeros where it was it was obviously like a lot of shorter vignettes. Not even a lot. There's like a handful of shorter vignettes, but there was like still a through story. This is like Just like this is like a Disney's short collection is what this really is.
Yes, yeah. There's no immediate connector from one of these to the next. It's just like it says up front. It's a fun musical fantasy. That is how it's said on the poster and how it's advertised.
But and it's so weird because like I did get excited. So you mentioned star power for this film.
Yes,
and it being
I had a feeling. I had a feeling, Jeff, when you saw some of these names, knowing your record collection and knowing your tastes, I had a feeling when you saw some of these names. So go ahead.
Okay. I might have geeked out a little bit when I saw that the Andrew sisters were in this because I like the Andrew sisters. I'm like, yay! I'm like Patty because I'm an Abbott and Costello kid. Like, and the Andrew sisters were in like half of the Abbott and Costello movies back in the day. So I got really excited about that. I saw Benny Goodman. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That when I was actually seeing that opening credit, because again, I had known nothing about this film going into it, seeing that and then going, oh, wow, they have a lot of people in this movie that I know of, like a lot of musicians or popular artists from the day, because I'm one of those like 6 people in the world that of my age like I feel like I'm out of the I'm born in the wrong era, like one of those things.
Though it may seem this way to our listeners, Jeff is not 70 years old.
Nope. And I'm not 70 and I didn't get like a voice box replacement at all. Nope, totally. Though sometimes in some mornings I feel like I am when I get out of bed in the morning. Oh, man, tell you. Anywho.
That got dark. Whoa.
That got dark. But no, so like it was a lot of fun seeing some of these names. And then I got actually very excited because I'm like, well, how are they utilizing these people? Because really, this is, besides it being just a collection of Disney shorts, it's almost like 10 music videos.
Yeah, I guess if you would consider music of the era it came out in, and what if there was an MTV, I guess. I thought of it more as a variety show, something that would appeal to a theater-going audience, a live radio audience, something like the Prairie Home Companion, how you can see that live and you can also listen to it on the radio. That it's this eclectic mix of different styles of music of the era. It actually led me to wonder, who is this movie's audience? Like, who is this intended for?
Right. This is definitely not. I can't see this as a kids' film at all.
Yeah, the dynamic animation to the more animated pieces, the less music-centric ones. There's a couple that are real slow. Dinosaurs, the Blue Bayou, and that's the second piece that really slow down and certainly would appeal to a much elderly crowd, even if I'm being honest. And but then the dynamic animation of like the Hatfield and McCoys. I'm sorry, the Martins and the Coys and Casey
let's get
at the
this
Bat.
Right here. First off, the 30s, Hollywood in the 1930s and the 40s had this weird fascination with the Hatfields and the McCoys for some reason. And I have no idea why. Anyways, continue. The intended audience for this, I wonder if this movie, more than the previous ones, was intended for a family night out, because there really is something for everyone in this. That's true. And like almost an extended family, like a fuller family, because it could be the kids, it could be the parents, and it could be the grandparents, and technically. The grandparents. Like exactly the whole what family could go out. Yep.
But that's good and bad, because opening up with the lighter fare of the Martins and the Coys, but then really slowing it down for Blue Bayou, the poem, and then picking it back up with the jazz interlude with the Casey at the Bat. Is that one? No. The cat one.
The Cats.
Oh, I love that one.
I love that one as well, and I had to make a note of it. More Disney cartoon nudity.
Yes, there was a bit of that in this.
There's a little bit more of that in this film. Just saying.
So like that once more leaves me asking, who the heck was the intended audience in this? And I don't think it was kids.
No.
And I feel that in general, this movie more than the other 7 we've seen so far is just a time capsule of Americana of the late 40s, early 50s. Like this, each short, the music, the animation, the subtle sexism of how women are treated in this. Yep. It is it is very much Americana, and even going so far as it's Americana in that let's forget about the war. Let's get past this and back to what makes America. Oh God, I almost said America great. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Oh jeez. Jeff, take the baton. I'm hyperventilating right
here. No, I definitely agree. And you worded it very good, because that's kind of where I was trying to think of. I was trying to figure out if this was done in the way to make people kind of forget, hey, look, the war is over. A lot of bad crap happened. Let's try to remember how proud we are. Like, look at the world we're living in right now in a positive spin, and let's remember how we are in the mid 40s. I definitely do. Yes, I agree that that's probably what their intention was. Maybe subtly, maybe that wasn't them going out being like, it's got to be, how great America is, or a time capsule of it, but
not in an aggressive way by any means. But the young kids going out and swinging it up at the malt house, the Casey at the baseball, right? Jazz itself. Jazz is that's American music. Baseball is an American sport, and it's not overly Michael Bay patriotic. It's not flag waving. It's very sweet and earnest in its sweetness, and it's saying like, hey, look at the fun times we can and will have. I don't know how deliberate that might have been, but that's, considering the era it came out in, I think that might be it. Having the Andrews sisters, having Benny Goodman and Dinah Shore, all of that feels very positive and positively reinforcing, hey, it's great. Let's smile. Let's have a good time with the family. Let's all go out and have a good time.
Right, exactly. And then you had that segment, you had the Peter and the Wolf segment, which was weird because while this is very much so like a snapshot of America and Americana from the 1940s, you do have, Casey at the Bat kind of sound, I guess that's more old 1800s. That still works. It's sung with like an Irish accent.
Right.
And I was like,
Casey at the Bat, the poem itself is much older than this movie. That's an actual poem that they just lyricized and animated to. But
then like Peter and the Wolf, take it like that entirely takes place in Russia.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not at all American. I mean, down to the fact that the bird, which kind of looked a little bit like yep. I'm not gonna lie, I spent that entire second going, he's going to bust out into that at some point, right? Like, that's going to happen. I'm not crazy, right?
Right. And also opera being such an... That's how the whole thing finishes off, is with this grand opera of Willie the Whale. And that goes back to that appealing to everyone that they possibly can in each segment. Peter and the Wolf is old world. And it's New World. It's right. Willie the Whale opera is Old World. They're singing Figaro, and it's also New World.
Right. And then you had the Two Silhouettes segment, which was a ballet show.
Yes,
full blown. We've talked about rotoscoping on this podcast before, because a lot of the early Disney films did some form of rotoscoping, especially for people of magic powers or whatever. Like if we had Snow White I guess Snow White didn't have magic powers, but the fairy godmother from Pinocchio did. Mm-hmm. But like, and this is just that this wasn't even, hey, we're gonna put a cartoon character over top of it. It's just, nope, these are just these silhouettes of two people dancing, just ballet, flat out baby. Ballet. And actually, there was like one or two moments where I'm like, did they even draw over top of them? Because that just looked like it was just the filmed video. Yeah. It actually kind of threw me for a loop once or twice, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you have all sorts of different, just totally different tones in this. And it's crazy that they bridged the gap. So even, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter your musical tastes, you would still enjoy some part of it.
I wonder if this, okay, so we know that this was done economically because they couldn't develop this during the war. In fact, we won't see the films they could develop after the war for quite a few more films. Well, we'll know, believe me, audience and Jeff, we'll know when we get to the movie that they kicked ass in after the war, right?
After the war, yep.
But for now, we're going to see the movies that they had to develop during the war and trickling out of it. Oh, shoot, where was I going with this? It feels like a reaction of a couple things, and I'm going to list them off and we will discuss. First of all, this is a much lighter and more accessible Fantasia.
True. Because you don't need to know classical music. When, Fantasia was focusing heavily on classic, not classic rock. I was going to say classic rock, not classic rock.
I want a classic rock Fantasia. Oh,
would that not
man.
actually be kind of cool?
Disney, get on it.
But no, Fantasia focused on the classical music, the classical pieces of, of works from very long gone musical artists. Whereas this one was trying to be the modern I feel like this is definitely a more modern Fantasia. Yes, I agree.
It doesn't have Fantasia comes off a bit strong in its presentation, in its forced education. Not forced education. I don't mean that to be negative, but just in that it feels more like a lesson on music, whereas Make Mine Music feels more. It's lighter. It's accessible. It's more fun. It's as advertised. It is a fun musical fantasy.
It's more fun and also slightly more depressing in spots.
Yeah, there is. Again, you got to go with context of the era it came out with. There's a lot of comedic death in this. There is an edge to a lot of these cartoons. It opens with characters going to heaven, and it closes with characters going to heaven.
That is very true.
Yeah,
I forgot. I did not even make that connection. I completely forgot that the Martins and the Coys, they died in the first minute of that short.
There's more than a handful of on-screen deaths in this. Now, granted, they're comedic and animated, but there's still an edge of death to this. And Peter and the Wolf is all about the hunt and survival, and we might be looking a little further than we need to, and it might just be an apples and apple. But I'd like to think that Walt was smart. Walt Disney was a smart guy, and he found a very unique way to project certain messages through his films. And
very true.
I'm sticking by it. Perhaps we're delving into theory territory, because I don't know about you. I couldn't find any fan theories about this one. Granted, this is a movie not a lot of people have seen.
Right. And then I even took a page from your book where I was thinking like Fantasia. I'm like, okay, how are all these connected? Is there a way that, because I looked for a theory too, and then I'm like, okay, there's not. Maybe there's a way to connect all the stories. Like there's little bits and pieces. I couldn't even find that because they take place in all different eras and all different tones,
it must be thematically linked or not. But my theory, quote unquote, as I'm throwing out there, is that that's a representation of Americana and survival and hope despite and kind of laughing in the face of death in a lot of these. And there's all those little elements there that are there to analyze whether it's deliberate or not. And I'm choosing to see that, particularly because of when this came out. And words, Jeff.
Words are hard. Words are tough. But no, I agree, because like you like Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet is very much so a story about like loss and being alone and going through hard times, and then in the end things will get better. So yeah, definitely, like you said, it is that kind of the entire film vibes are like kind of just rolls on this concept of no matter how bad things are going to get, things will turn out in the end. It doesn't matter, down to the fact that Willie the Whale dies,
but he gets
at the end of it. He gets to go
do
to
opera
heaven.
in heaven.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's one other element I think perhaps you tell me what you think of this. Could have played a part in the style of more than half of the cartoons that we see in this movie. And from everything we've watched of the 8 movies so far, this one feels like a Looney Tunes. This one, and I wonder if they were trying to kind of catch some of that lightning that Looney Tunes succeeded so much on. There are elements of this that feel so Tex Avery, which I know isn't even Looney Tunes. That's MGM with Droopy and the Wolf. But
still is along that same line. Like a lot of them were doing that. And it's not the same, but it's very similar. It's very close to that same tone.
It's bigger. It's dynamic. Goofy was the most animated, quote unquote, of characters we'd seen so far in terms of his mannerisms and his wackiness. And this one, the Hatfields and the McCoys, Casey at the Bats, even Willie the Whale to to a point, though Willie the Whale does feel more Disney. But the Martins and the Coys and Casey and the Bat feel very, very Looney Tunes. And Peter and the Wolf does too, with a lot of the pun gags, like the literal interpretations of what our man Sterling Holloway is saying.
You beat me to the punch real quick there, TC, because I was gonna go. We have to have our weekly Sterling Holloway alert, because he was the narrator of Peter and the Wolf.
That's right.
I got very excited. Once I saw him in the credit, I went, oh, and I'm writing that down on my list because this will be a thing. This is gonna be a recurring segment every time
for
he
many
appears.
years to come. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And who he portrayed in this film. That's what I loved about, sorry, real quick. That's what I loved about the Peter and the Wolf segment was just, I like listening to him talk.
His voice is he just has one of the most soothing, just bedtime story voices ever.
Exactly. It was so nice. But anyway, sorry, you were going. Go ahead.
Let's look at each segment. We've definitely dissected this thing as a whole, but if you want, let's talk about each of these 10 segments now.
Okay. So the first segment, I'll start it off then.
Okay,
the first segment was the Martins and the Coys, as we kind of already talked about. So kind of a retelling of the Hatfield and McCoy feud, and I don't know how many people nowadays know anything about the Hatfield and the McCoys.
There was the History Channel miniseries that the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Oh, that's
five or so years ago. And Bill Paxton, rest in peace, was in that.
Oh, yeah. Bill Paxton. Sad.
So there is something in this, and I don't know if you caught it, but this is more of a meta reference to you and I. Okay. I wrote a script for you for one of your New Prairie Universe stories, right? And I had a know-it-all character in there that discusses the origin of the soda Mountain Dew.
Oh, okay.
In the Hatfields and the McCoys. I'm sorry, the Martins and the Coys. They talk about Grandpa being all sauced up on Mountain Dew.
Interesting.
Yeah. So for those of you listening who may want a quick little little bit of trivia, Mountain Dew was purchased by Pepsi, and Mountain Dew. This was back in the 50s, right? Mountain Dew was a slang term for moonshine from Appalachia. So to appeal to Appalachian soda drinkers, Pepsi bought and made a product called Mountain Dew.
Isn't that awesome?
This is
a podcast where people learn, TC.
You learn things.
You come here for the Disney, you learn with Pepsi knowledge. That's what it is. Also, this segment brought to you by Pepsi Cola and Mountain Dew.
All right, so you have two choices, Jeff. You have Mountain Dew and crab juice.
I have a choice.
Oh, you didn't follow the reference.
Oh,
you didn't follow the reference. You know what? That's my fault. We're talking Disney, and here I am referencing The Simpsons.
How dare you? My mind is not ready for The Simpsons.
All
right,
so
podcast.
After Martins and Coys, what's next? We have Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou. Yep. Did you want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it?
I just want to say this movie slowed down way too soon. To go from Martins to Coys to Blue Bayou was a really big, like a really odd juxtaposition because
somebody slammed on the brakes.
Yeah, and I worried when that segment came up. I was like, I don't know. Right off the gate, I was like, oh, I love this opening cartoon's great. This is great energy. And then boom, slow down.
Yeah. I almost wonder, they probably could have reordered these shorts. Since there is no actual connection, I feel like they could have organized them a little better and not have that such a sudden stop. But then at the same time, I think they organized them so that way they had an upbeat and then a slow and then an upbeat and then a slow and then an upbeat, because that's definitely, it bounces back and forth that way.
Yes. Yeah. The first half of this is It's that fun, youthful, very cartoony, followed by something that feels much more like Fantasia, something more serious, and perhaps that's them learning from what worked about Fantasia, which was mixing it up. I just was a little put off right away by that second segment.
Now, Blue Bayou was intended for Fantasia.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was supposed to be set to the tune of Clair de Lune.
Oh, wow. I'm sure someone on YouTube has done that.
I started looking because I'm like, I want to see this because apparently, because I did some research on it, apparently both versions still exist. They have a version of it that is set to Claire de Lune, because it got cut from Fantasia, by the time they got to here, they're like, well, they just put a new song to it because they didn't want to apparently do another classical piece of music, and so they did the new song that's actually in the movie.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to seek that out because, and this is a quick little tangent, they just this week released the finished version of a short that Walt Disney and Salvador Dali were animating together. So if you want to see a very Fantasia-esque music segment done to the animation style of Salvador Dali, just hit Google and look for it. It is a visual representation of Morpheus falling in love with time, the embodiment of time. It's Salvador Dali, that's for sure. but Blue Bayou, it's slowed down, and you've enlightened me in the fact that it was intended for Fantasia because it really did feel like the Ave Maria segment of the end of Fantasia.
Right, like it matched that animation style. It matched the pacing of Fantasia. It looked like it should have been in Fantasia. It almost kind of stands out from this one because all the other pieces in this film still have a very similar style to them. Except for Blue Bayou, that was the one that's like, this looks more, I guess we could say it at this point, old school Disney. You know, it's not as much as the modern, quote unquote, modern Disney where we are in the chronological time zone world.
But hey, they followed up Blue Bayou with one of my favorite pieces of the whole thing, which is All the Cats Join In. Which is the kids run into the malt house, the little girl who wants to go out, but her older sister gets to the dance cycles, the animation cycles in this segment, as well as the first segment with the Hatfields and McCoy's dancing segments. Now, for those of you who might not be aware of how animation works, cycles, run cycles, walk cycles, it's where you can take, like if someone's running, you can just animate them doing their left foot to their right foot and then repeat that left foot, right foot. And you can repeat that animation in a cycle, saving yourself a heck of a lot of animation time, depending on how much you want to cycle. And the dance animation cycles in both All the Cats Join In and the Hatfields and McCoys are so good because they are so complex. Characters going in underneath each other and around each other. It's really good. It's really good.
And now for our listeners out there who want to see the opposite of it, watch the Charlie Brown Christmas special. It's a great example of seeing a very simple, and it sounds like I'm making fun of that. Don't think I'm making fun of that. I love the Charlie Brown Christmas special to death.
Yes, yeah.
But the kids dancing during the theater rehearsal, the play rehearsal, those are very simple like dance cycles because you'll notice it's a little bit. It's like a second to the right, a second to the left, and then it's just looped over and over and over and over again. Like
I wouldn't even use Charlie Brown as the worst example of that because it works for Charlie Brown. The most egregious perpetrator of lazy animation cycles is anything Hanna-Barbera has ever done.
Why? Just because they run past the same background like 12 times?
Hanna-Barbera does just the laziest. They were doing like flash animation by hand. It was just this arm moves. It's oh boy.
But they had it smart. They're like, how do we make hit shows on small budgets?
Oh yeah.
Everybody just stands around, and then when they run, they don't move much. Yeah.
Just their legs.
Just their legs.
Hey, with all the cats joining, we get the Benny Goodman Band just jazzing it up.
It has one of my favorite elements of any kind of cartoons, especially like the Looney Tunes ones, where we watch the pencil drawing the scene while the characters are running around in the scene. Like at one point the pencil draws a stoplight just so he can finish drawing the car they're driving in. I'm like,
and then when it takes off, the pencil breaks. That's so fun. That's so fun.
I love that. that one was that was the most upbeat, and it was also I think it felt even crazier and more upbeat because it came after Blue Bayou, which was so slow and so kind of drawn out, and then you get that, which is the polar opposite of each other.
Yeah,
it was almost like a whirlwind. Like it ended, and I went, "Holy crap! What just happened?" I feel like classic cartoon style. It would have just been me sitting there, head back, eyes wide open, hair back, and then pieces of paper just like fluttering to the ground. Like that's how much it just felt like it was a whirlwind to me.
What just happened? However, though, the movie does slow down again immediately after this, which is then we went from Blue Bayou to the All the Cats Join In to Ballad in Blue, another blue.
Very, very just drastic changes. Just a lot of, and then a very kind of another very slow and sad ballad because of it dealing with like a lost love and stuff. And just, it was like, you had me so happy and now I'm all sad again. But after that, Casey at Bat.
Yes, I have very fond memories of Casey at the Bat. This must have been they must have played this segment on the Disney Channel. I've mentioned earlier that I grew up watching the Disney Channel, and I just have a very, very strong memory of Casey at the Bat.
Mm-hmm. Casey at the Bat feels... Also, again, like you have already stated earlier, like it feels very much so like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
I almost would picture Bugs Bunny being out on the field. Like that's, and I know very well that there are Looney Tunes cartoons with Bugs Bunny where there is baseball and themes and stuff like that. So
him versus the Empires is one of them. Yeah, classic Disney, right? Or classic Looney Tune right there.
It's just, it feels like that. It feels in that tone. And it's good, though, because I know a lot of the stuff that's been kind of, that at least I have brought up over the handful of podcasts we've done so far, or episodes we've done, is that like the early days of Disney doesn't feel like a Disney thing to me. And this feels the closest to Disney, I guess, in my head, even though it seems to be the closest to Looney Tunes.
Well, the cartoonish elements of the crowd, of Casey grinding his teeth or smashing his bat, the way the pitcher does the wind up in the flick. There's so much. The animators must have had one hell of a good time animating this segment because every single thing that happens on screen is amusing. It's funny. It's dynamic. It's great animation.
There's a crazy movement to it because I noticed one thing that I kind of dug that it happens so quickly, and I was thinking about it afterwards. It was like near the end, right before the end of it, when Casey swings at the ball and he misses, and he flips himself over and he lands the bat. Like flips up in the air and I think it hits him on the head.
Yep, boink.
and he falls over forward, bounces and catches the bat in his hand and then stands back up in like a really awesome dynamic movement that felt completely natural, actually, despite it breaking all physics. But just the fluidity of it.
Great cartoon physics is what it was.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I'm wondering, do you feel, I might be just looking at something that's not there, that Casey at the Bat is a great Gaston prototype?
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
His attitude, his cockiness, even how his barrel chest and his broad chin and his swagger and his ladies. It's so Gaston.
Right, and it ultimately ends up being his downfall. Like it seems like there's a common thread in some of these that whenever you're cocky and overly confident, that's when it's your downfall. In this, it's his downfall. In Beauty and the Beast, it's literally his downfall. See what I did there? A little too soon. 45 years too soon, I think.
Somewhere in there.
So then after that, what's next, TC?
Dinah Shore's segment, The Dance, which was this was the ballet, right? I believe this is the ballet. Yeah.
Yep. The rotoscope ballet.
And I'll be honest, this is the one I actually looked away from the TV to kind of like situate my notes. It was a moment in the whole thing where I was like, I'm not paying attention to this.
See, and the one that I missed was Without You, or was the ballad about lost love. That's the one that I missed.
The one before Casey at the Bat.
Before Casey, yep.
Yeah.
because I did that there. I was like, okay, this is sad and depressing. Notes, making sure everything. And then I looked up and I'm like, oh, Casey, okay, that one, okay, that's done.
However, Diana Shore, beautiful voice, beautiful song.
Yes.
She sings it marvelously, and it's you don't have to watch the screen, right? And we've kind of discussed that in the previous 7 we've watched, that with Fantasia, you can just listen to it and enjoy it.
Yep. Watching it just gives you an extra visual element that you otherwise would not have had. But yeah.
But as soon as you're losing faith in this movie that they've slowed it down for the adults again, we get Peter and the Wolf.
Peter and the Wolf, which is, as you mentioned earlier, the most Looney Tunes of all the cartoons on this.
Perhaps. I actually think Casey at the bat might be the most Looney Tunes, but there's Peter and the Wolf, I feel might have been my introduction as a little guy into understanding musical themes, that characters can have musical themes, that composers, if you think of like Leia and Han have their theme in Star Wars, that a truly great composer will create little nuanced musical cues for certain characters. Of course, I'm using Star Wars again. John Williams is the master. We're not going to lie, but the Emperor's done, the dun 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 dun. And Peter and the Wolf as a cartoon represents that so well. And this one again feels like Fantasia or Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos in teaching you, here's what this song does. These instruments represent these characters. Now let's watch the story unfold.
And then you kind of forget, because when I was watching it, even though, again, I was watching it and I know they taught me that, and I know musical stuff, like I know motifs, I'm well aware of
motifs. That was the word I was looking for.
I was waiting to see if you were going to say it. I'm like, well, you got it right. You said musical cues. That's right. That's what works. But I'm pretty sure that Lindsay was listening and probably yelling at
just screaming. Just say motifs, you idiot!
Motifs.
Writers.
You guys call yourself writers. But no, and even though that little educational lesson was at the beginning of Peter and the Wolf, I kind of subliminally forgot that I was taught that. And then while listening or watching the movie, or the short halfway through it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's the instrumentation. And I just kind of forgot that was going to be in the piece. I'm not used to that much education in a cartoon. I'm sorry.
Well, when you have Sterling Holloway telling you something, you just kind of, okay, Sterling, whatever you say.
I would listen to that man read the phone book. That'd be fantastic. I wonder if he has. Let me look for that.
Well, another thing that Peter and the Wolf always makes me think of, it's the Wolf's theme is Scut Farkus's theme from A Christmas Story. Dun, 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 dun.
That's a good point. I didn't make that connection either. See, this is why there's 2 of us, TC. If it was just one of us, this would be a very boring podcast.
and Lindsay screaming at us from the future.
From the future. It's going to be fantastic. Welcome, future Lindsay. So anyways, and for those of you returning from the AFI Top 100 podcast, that's that Lindsay. Right. Now you guys know. Anyways. So after Peter and the Wolf, I enjoyed Peter. Peter and the Wolf was probably, was easily like one of my top, my favorite 3 segments from this. My favorite's still a couple away. Well, actually, no, it's a lie. I did say All the Cats Join In was my favorite. Yeah. But my second favorite is 2 more shorts away. So,
well, next up here we have After You're Gone, which is the Benny Goodman Band, right?
True. Yes. Yep. This is the one where the instrumentation. So this is the second Benny Goodman piece. In this short, with the anthropomorphizers.
Exactly.
Instruments that look like humans.
I love this. There's the one where the clarinet jumps out off of something and he takes his surface off to turn it into an umbrella, and he's a different color clarinet underneath. Or when the drums come in and they start chasing. This one's very surreal. It's very, very much like the earlier segments of Fantasia, which have the flowers and the Russian dancers during the Nutcracker suites.
Right.
But just, I can remember the fingers running across the piano keys, and just the cartoonish nature of all these instruments coming to life. Just, I have vague memories of that in my head.
And this was the first time I've seen this one. At least I have no memory of this one. I have the Casey at the Bat seemed very familiar to me while watching it. So I'm sure, just like you, I'm sure I've seen that. Peter and the Wolf I've seen still frames of. I don't think I've actually seen that one. But in this one I had nothing. There was I got no actual memory of it. Now, whether that means I have seen it, I just don't remember it. That's a very real possibility. I can barely remember last week, so I don't remember that we took 2 weeks off.
This one with After You're Gone, the Benny Goodman band sequence is so fun. It's so dynamic. It's like, if you like jazz, there's a lot to offer within this entire film. But the Benny Goodman segments are the toe tapping, finger snapping jazz sequences that are just fun. Just the song itself is fun.
Right. And there is one thing, we were talking about how it alternates between a fast pace and a slow and a fast pace and a slow. It was at this point that they broke that order.
Yep. Yeah. It just kind of it went kind of from Peter the Wolf to this. It was 2 kind of upbeat ones in a row.
To get to the one after that, which is my second favorite short, which was
a love
Johnny
story.
Fedora and Alice Blue Bonnet.
Another blue.
Another blue.
Surely there's something to be said about all the blue here.
There's a lot of blue. There's blue all over the place. And
this one feels so Pixar. This one feels like the 2 umbrellas. I can't remember which Disney movie had the umbrella short before it. It was. I think it was Monsters University. No, Monsters University was Feast. Well, regardless, the 2 umbrellas who find and lose each other is very reminiscent of Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet.
Yep, I definitely agree. This one feels the closest to a modern day Pixar short, and it's funny because that was one of the things I was thinking about while watching this as well. Is I could see, because they are so short, I could see where Pixar is getting their inspiration for some of their shorts, the tone and the style being it has to be just. It has to be. It's a very simple story at the core, but it has a lot of emotion packed into it.
Very, very human, very relatable story of having and losing love and having it return to you after. I'm going to analyze it again from a war perspective. That Johnny goes through war in this. After he loses his love and is sent out there into the world, and he's trashed and he's literally crushed, and he survives it, and he comes back from it to find her again and grow old with her. That's the story of someone who's been to war.
Exactly. And what better artists to be performing the song that's related to that piece than the Andrews Sisters, who did a lot of touring for the war and was a big part of the, war efforts,
the USO.
The USO. It was very much so. Actually, that totally makes sense now that you bring up the allegory to the war.
Man.
Wow, that actually that had a whole deeper level there that I was not expecting until just now.
There's one moment in the short though that made me go, "What?" It's when the homeless guy picks up the hat, and then he goes to I guess it's a burlesque show, and he's at the bar, and he looks at the wrong girl, and another dude comes up, and they pull a gun on each other.
It escalates so quickly.
Oh, that escalated. As soon as that gun came out,
that gun came out, gunshots went off, things started happening, police started showing up, the hat was gone, the hat was down the river, got trampled, run over, down the gutter, and then it was found again by the horse. It was what?
This is the animated equivalent of Cold Mountain with Jude Law, I think, is what we're saying.
I would agree. Yeah, that's no, I really enjoyed this segment. It was very sad. I do know though, like the one point that kind of, sorry, besides that gunfight moment, that is probably the most ridiculous moment of it. But the one little like fantasy of Johnny and Alice having hats or having kid hats, or baby hats, just kind of made me really question how that would have worked. Sorry, like I go there as an adult. I'm like, how? There's a lot of things I need answers to.
What's the science between two? Let's just not. You know what? Let's
also,
not
she
question.
had like a litter of hats, is what she had. So apparently, hats have the same bodily systems as like cats and dogs.
Jeff, where do baby cars come from?
Well, that's a tougher one. You know those little motorized ones that you find at Walmarts and Targets?
And our last segments.
Yes, move on to the last segment here. The whale who wanted to sing at the Met, which sounds to me like a bad punchline for a joke, or like the bad setup of a joke. You know, how do you get to the Met? This segment, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so here's another one of those that I'd never seen before. I've never seen this short before. I was enjoying it. I was liking it. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. First off, quick sidebar. Do you think Willie is the more talented brother of the whale from Pinocchio?
Of Monstro.
And that's why Monstro is so upset, is because his brother was more successful.
Jeff, you read my mind. I literally have a note about Monstro and Willie being brothers.
It was the first thing that popped in. I'm like, oh, I bet you they're related, aren't they? But I won't lie, because I had no idea what was coming in this one. I actually had the ending of it spoiled because I was looking up information while I was watching the short. And the first thing I saw was when Willie dies at the end. I went, what? And then I looked and I stopped reading and then just watched the last minute and a half of it, already depressed because I'm like, I know it's coming.
Poor
How does
Willie.
he die?
He just wanted to sing.
And then I didn't realize that it was all just like a fantasy of him playing at the operas and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, well, how does he die then? Because he looks like he's doing so well. And then it cut back and I'm like, oh, it was all just a fantasy. With a twist. This movie ends on such a sour note because it ends with him dying.
I'm going to go after this again. I'm going to go after this angle of optimism that this movie seems to present despite the wartime that America was coming out of. In that Willie just dreamed of this beautiful future for himself. That he had this Mount Olympus that he wanted to climb. And even though he lost his life by circumstances that were out of his control, he gets to go to heaven and live his dream for eternity. And if I'm going to keep looking at this from the angle of wartime optimism, that think of how many men and women didn't make it home after the war, and that sweet, naive, innocent belief that despite not getting back to what they wanted to, that perhaps somewhere out there in the ether they are living in a heaven of their own making. I don't mean
that makes sense.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to bring the mood down, but I that is sad. But there's also a joy to that, and ending the movie with that element. If we're sticking with my over-analyses.
I would expect nothing less from us, TC. That's what we do. I was just trying to dissect how hats had babies. Come on. The hats would also have those tiny little baseball helmets that they used to serve ice cream in back in the day.
We've gone too far.
We've gone too far.
You see what we do, Jeff?
That was our too far.
Jeff, this is just textbook you and I. As soon as it gets too serious, we have to somehow crack a joke to break the tension.
That's true, because I don't like things getting serious. Serious is sad and scary. I like things being funny.
What did you think of this movie overall? This was odd. This was much different of a conversation than we've had to the 7 previous films, because this is 10 short films in one with zero connector, unless you go with the themes I'm connecting or the fact that there's a lot of blue in this. But
it's weird. Which still relates back to the war and the feeling people would have.
Right. How did you feel about this film?
You know, it's funny because before we started recording tonight, I had a very different feeling regarding this movie.
Really? Okay.
But now that we've sat and talked about it, and now that it's been, I watched it last night at pretty much the same time. So I watched it 24 hours ago. And I enjoyed it then. Like, it was fun. It was fine. I wasn't going to like immediately be like, oh, that's the greatest one we've watched so far. And a somewhat Gilbert Godfrey-esque voice. But it was the greatest one we've... No, so...
Willie the Whale. Okay, I don't do Gilbert Godfrey, I'm sorry.
Such a great guy.
There it is.
Had to turn away from my mic because I didn't want to blow your ears out. Anyways, also my neighbors upstairs love me. So, like, idiots talking like Gilbert Godfrey again. But no, like, going into this recording, it was okay. It was an okay film. It was fine. There was moments that I liked. There was ones I didn't. Like I said, the slower ones, I was like, okay, fine. I can appreciate for what it is. It looks beautiful, but I wasn't going to just be like, that Blue Bayou is the greatest moment of the entire film. I wasn't going to do that. But like now, after we kind of went through it all and I was able to let it soak in and come back at it from a break, I really did enjoy this. I really did enjoy this movie.
Yeah, it was
fun.
Having the conversation with you has also made me appreciate some of these segments that I didn't think of a certain way until we started conversing about it. I had made little notes about Americana and how to connect the themes of this. It was in the midst of our conversation, we've developed this idea of the wartime reactions, the optimism there, and maybe I appreciate this movie more than I realized when we sat down to watch this. But yeah, I like it. Jeff, where do you place this in your top?
No, you did it to me again. You.
Do you want me to go first? Because I actually did number it myself. I actually have my answer ready. So
yes, please do.
The down moments in this, the Blue Bayou and the Ballad in Blue and the Dinosaur, those moments that kind of slow down and I lose my attention to, are similar to the vein of in Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos, where there are parts of that where I kind of okay, I'm less interested now. You're kind of losing my attention, but the way Make Mine Music wins me back every time really makes this movie better than those two, and I'm placing it as my number 5, below Fantasia and above Three Caballeros.
Ooh, interesting, sir.
It could be because I have essentially built my career at this point on making short films. I have a deep love for Looney Tunes and Calvin and Hobbes and the fun of short comedy. And this movie, Make My Music, really represents a lot of that, of what developed how I developed my sense of comedic timing and joy of animation. So yeah, I'm putting it below Fantasia and above Three Caballeros.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I feel like we actually have very similar thoughts about this. I am putting it as my number 6.
Okay.
Which is just like you, right behind Fantasia.
Okay. All right.
Because I still, as much fun as it was, I still do like the music. But it's so shite.
I'll give it to you this, Jeff. The reason I don't have it higher on my list is because it's short content. Pinocchio still stands as the best on this list of what we've watched so far, in my opinion, and as well as yours, Jeff. If I'm not speaking for you, you can tell you can tell me to stop. But in that, Pinocchio is a complete story. It's a film unto itself. It's an entire package. It's a full feature film that is the pinnacle of what Disney is able to do for features. Make Mine Music is the pinnacle of what Disney can do with shorts.
True. And yes, I'm going to hold true to mine. I'm going to put it below Fantasia. So it's going to be my number 6 because Fantasia edges out because of the masterfulness in the art that it did, the animation that it did for that. Yeah. The presentation is just fantastic in Fantasia. I as much as I do really love, I like a lot of jazz. I like a lot of like Andrew Sisters and a lot of that type of music as well. And as funny as, lots of segments of Make My Music were, and just overall, I still think Fantasia is a little bit better in this tone. So I'm gonna make it my number 6.
Yeah, Fantasia is a bigger achievement. So
yes,
for that reason alone, it's certainly has good reason to be above something like this. Though it's always hard to do lists for me because some of these are so close sometimes that I'm really hemming and hawing. Like it's just edging out one over the other sometimes. But yeah, there we go. We've listed it.
We've done the list portion of the was there any other thoughts or comments you had regarding this film just overall? I don't really have any theories, as we discussed about
right.
You know what would this, I guess we kind of talked a little about it. Is this this is appropriate for children, right? There's nothing in this that's bad.
No, at the very worst I feel like there'd be trouble, much like Fantasia, trouble holding the attention of kids for portions of this. But there are those segments that are more entertaining, or as entertaining as, say, the hippos and the alligators or the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's there's Casey at the Bat, the Martins and the Coys, the Willie the Whale. The animated sequence of this that are very cartoonish. Those could hold a kid's attention. But I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a very niche movie in some respects because of the jazz, and there are people who hate jazz, so that could lose people.
I'll definitely say this. I understand why this is one of the lesser known Disney films. I completely understand.
Yeah,
why.
this is by no means a classic at all, and the fact that this is so hard to find is proof of that.
Yep, because this is definitely like you can argue a lot of Disney movies, especially once we get to those that were made after the war. A lot of those films rarely do anything in them that date them. For the time period that they were made in. That's the biggest thing, because Disney kind of started going away from movies set in the present era. And I mean, they even, I guess, really, you argue Snow White and Pinocchio and those didn't take place in the modern era either. But once they get back to that type of film, you don't have movies like Saludos Amigos, which is very much so a snapshot of what it was like, what South America was like in the 1940s, and Make My Music, which is 1940s music and culture, in some of them. You don't get that in a lot of later ones, and I think that's a giant hindrance because people nowadays aren't going to pick this up and be like, let's see what 1946 was like, and just people aren't going to be interested to do it, unless you're of that age.
I do feel though this might be one of those movies that if you show it to the right person, they'll love it. This could be. We live in a very ADD society and a very, very ADD time, and it's easier for people to digest short things. So to stick some of these shorts in front of people that already have somewhat of an appreciation for the Pixar shorts, for Looney Tunes, they're going to like this. This is one that's going to capture some people's attention and stand out. It won't be a classic. This will never be a classic along with Snow White and Pinocchio, but at the same time, there are some really amazingly cool moments throughout this whole film.
I agree entirely.
Well, I do have a comment. Actually, this comment came from more than one person, so I'll just make it a generalized comment, which comes from our previous 2 episodes. And if you'd like to comment at us, you can comment us on the Facebook page, or you can tweet at me at TC's Big Head, or you can tweet at Jeff at Random Bell. And the comment that was made to me by more than one person was for Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos. Now, with Three Caballeros, I mentioned that kind of odd theory that the movie was about exploring Donald Duck's interest in the gentleman, if you will.
Yes.
We missed a very obvious lyrical line from both the theme song of Saludos Amigos, which put a gay song in your hearts, and the Three Caballeros, three gay caballeros.
It just goes to show you how messed up our world is nowadays. Now, come on, people. They don't mean gay like that. They mean gay like happy.
But the modern nomenclature of gay, meaning homosexual, was at the start of the popularization of that term, meaning that was in the late 30s. Which was before these movies came out. Now, that's not to say I support this theory. That's not to say that I am interpreting them saying gay as a modern sense. But it is funny that I had two people. I think Thomas was one of them, and he said, I don't subscribe to this theory, but it's worth mentioning. But I had another friend who was a little more aggressive about it, who was saying, I shouldn't say friend, a commentator to say, of course it's about gay. It says it is.
Modern people.
Yes.
No.
So that was my one comment from previous episodes. That is super silly. I just want to stress that is super silly.
That is very super silly. And but we have to bring them up. We have to examine all possibilities, TC.
Yes.
Even if they are to immediately disavow them and never hear from again.
I am curious to see how people respond to. I'm going to keep calling it my over analyses of Make Mine music. If there's anyone else who wants to subscribe to my idea of this post-war optimism, so I'm more interested in that than whatever Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros were trying to push on the people.
Don't shove it down our throat, Disney.
Look, you know what? I don't want to get. And you can feel free to cut this if you want. But there is a reaction right now to Beauty and the Beast, the live action Beauty and the Beast that's as of this recording is coming out soon. And there's people who are upset that Nefue is gay. Ooh. And my favorite meme.
What era do we live in?
my favorite meme, my favorite response to that is, I can't believe people are upset that there's a gay character in their Woman on Buffalo love story.
That's true. Real quick, that means more people are okay with bestiality than they are with homosexuality.
People.
That's it. I'm going to go live as a hat.
That's right.
And have hat babies.
So any commentary, any comments or tweets from you, Jeff?
Nothing from me. You did it. No, nothing from me. Not that I could find this week. It was you already kind of discussed most of the stuff for this week. But as CC already said, if you guys had any comments, by all means, facebook.com/topshelfpod. That's the Facebook page. You guys can subscribe to us there and leave us all sorts of comments. And that's where we'd let you know if we have to end up missing a week again, like we did these last 2 weeks. And my attempt at an apology by posting a very cute picture of a cat and dog sleeping.
Oh, yay.
It was so cute. I'm like, don't be mad. Look at cute cat and dog.
Next time you have to post one, I have this GIF of a porcupine eating a banana that is the cutest thing you have ever seen.
That's going to be the next one. Now we need to take a week off just so we can post it.
Just not anytime soon. Soon.
Yeah. And if we totally miss next week, not my fault. So next time, however, speaking of next week, next movie on the list is the 1947 short. It's another one of these, right? I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It's another package film. It was developed during the war.
But the 1947 film Fun and Fancy Free.
Yeah.
I've never seen this one either. So this is going to be kind of fun. The ninth movie on the list, TC.
We are approaching that 10 spots. I will say for the listeners that, once again, if you have trouble finding Fun and Fancy Free, you can find it somewhere on YouTube. Okay. Keep in mind that in order for things to go on YouTube like this, they have to slow down or speed up the timing on it just ever so slightly, like a few percentages here or there. So I recommend going onto the Wikipedia, their IMDb, or the IMDb, and finding what the runtime of Fun and Fancy Free is, and then find the closest to that runtime on YouTube. And then you'll be able to watch the movie and join in the conversation. There you go.
Yes. Otherwise, for those of you that have Amazon Video, it's currently $2.99 on Amazon Video.
It is. Oh, okay. So that whole illegal thing I was talking about, just get on Amazon. Jeffrey.
I just wanted to cover our bases, and that way, in case somebody was listening, I gave the legal way of finding it. Don't worry.
YouTube is legal. It's the thing. Come on now.
And with that, TC.
Oh boy.
And with that, I think that's time for us to sign off for this week's episode. So thanks everybody for listening to the show. We really do appreciate y'all tuning in every week and taking a gander at it. Tuning in because we're live on the radio.
And that's right.
We're not live on the radio.
We want to thank the live studio audience as well for being here.
Thank you, Jeff Goldblum. Special guest stars Jeff Goldblum, Gilbert Godfrey,
Owen Wilson
showed up. Owen Wilson showed up, and Christopher Walken for that those great opening lines. See, we had 4. I said we had 30 or 40 listening on each side. We had 4 of them show up today. More will show up next week. I'm sure of it.
I can only hope so.
Y'all can come back again next week, right? Okay, they're all being very silent right now. So.
They're shy. They're shy.
They're shy. They don't like being known that they're on the radio. But with that, everybody, I hope you guys all have a fantastic week. TC, thanks for joining.
Thank you, Jeff.
And we'll see you next time.
When the next time you hit play it'll be us.
It'll be us. It could be within 30 seconds.
It's you. You don't know, Jeff. You know what this was? This was our greatest sign off yet.
It was actually the most professional.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.